Okay, so we are playing To Catch a Wizard as submitted by badcop, and thank you so much for joining me on the stream. How are you doing?
I am well. How about you?
Yeah, doing fine. We unlocked our fireball spell. We got through some of the beginning of the game, but you said that we might be here for a while, so this is where you said you'd join me.
Yeah, so this part of the game is a little bit challenging. Um, in the comments for my game so far, there have been some comparisons to Dark Souls. So, best of luck. I
Is
didn't
it
mean for it to be this difficult. It just kind of happened that way.
This is just a factor of not necessarily having the opportunity to playtest, right?
Well, yeah, so it was really easy, and I made a couple of tweaks that added more RNG to it, and then I playtested it like twice, and
Hmm.
it seemed good, and I was wrong. Those were two really lucky runs.
So is it? Am I actually like dealing damage, like shooting this guy? Is he just teleporting
I
away?
think you've damaged him once so far.
Oh, really? Like, how do you actually hit him?
So you can't hit him directly because he'll just teleport away. Um, I want to see if you figure it out, but
Is it just a matter of like blowing up his own projectiles when he's near him?
no, that was originally what it was going to be, but I had to descope it.
Huh. Okay. Okay. Then the only other thing I can think of is, did that count? Shooting the ceiling above him and making the bricks
Yes,
rain down.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's not great feedback on what does damage, and I wish I had had time to add some sort of like red flash or something even. I think that would have. I was just so tired when I was making this
Oh, of
part of the
course.
game. And then I fell asleep and didn't feel like uh, making any more tweaks.
No, oh my
But
gosh.
I have a lot of plans to make this at least friendlier. Maybe not easier, but friendlier.
Hmm.
Uh, but I feel like doing it during the jam would be kind of cheating. So this is how it was, and it's not broken per se. It's just annoying.
Harder than you meant it to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that I've got this
Um.
at least figured out, we
Mhm.
can start in with the actual interview questions. So you can talk a little bit about your. Oh, hey, I think we won. Oh wait, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
No,
Oh my god.
second phase.
Okay. Okay. And I don't. Have to do that all over again, huh?
Yeah. What's your first question?
Okay. First question is just if you could talk about your background in game development.
My background in game development.
Yeah.
Sure. I uh, mostly just hobbyist. I've wanted to get into like indie development, but I haven't really done any long-term serious projects that I would consider, I don't know, sellable. I mostly just do a bunch of game jams. But I've been doing game jams since like 2011,
Hmm.
so it's been a while. I was not very good back then.
Well, it's a matter of improvement. So, like, how many jams have you done since you started?
um, at least 10, maybe more. I don't know. I did some in college. We had like a group that used to run game jams. Um, and then I've done a bunch online. I've only done. This is only the second time I've done Ludum Dare.
Well, I think Ludendar is a pretty good one. Like, it's probably the like one of the few game jams that I thought was worthwhile participating in. Like, I didn't participate this year because I just am just a little burnt out on game jams in general, but it's one of the few that I would make a point of participating in.
Yeah, I like the community around it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of like crazy talented people that make games for this game jam, so it's always cool to I don't know, see how I stack up against them, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. Oh my god, it is sometimes like the way those projectiles curve, the fact that you can't just like linearly
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to predict their path, especially on the second phase, because the way they work on the second phase is they all track you, but they have randomized turn radiuses. So it's even trickier to predict like which way they're gonna go.
Oh boy. Well, I guess it's good to know that's the case. So, what was the actual inspiration behind this game?
Well, I started from like, what would a platformer look like if, you know, every 10 seconds time rewinds, or like what would any game look like with that? And I thought it was pretty interesting because you have this constraint where you're basically always starting from the same place.
Mm-hmm.
You need to design like paths that, like, I knew that you needed to have some sort of incremental upgrade to be able to make progress. And I just started kind of running with that idea. I was like, okay, well, why would time be rewinding every 10 seconds? That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, it makes sense if it's magic, so it should be magic. Oh, this is looking close. Nicely done.
See, when you told me that they track you at random radii, then I realized, like, oh, so I don't actually have to shoot them necessarily because they might just orbit around me.
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing that made it super easy in the beginning, was that they weren't randomized and they would all just orbit if you stayed still.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no challenge. So that's why I added the randomness.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, I'll run the game again from the beginning just while we continue the interview, but like, whew, that is a very tough fight.
There's a lot of things that went wrong with the boss fight. The radius on the explosions, like, is way too big, and I didn't realize it. So you can blow one up near you, and then it'll still count as a death,
Mm-hmm.
which feels pretty bad. I was trying to fix a bug with... Oh. Looks like you managed to find one of the bugs. That one falling platform seems to have disappeared from the level.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even notice.
I don't know where it goes, but sometimes it just leaves.
Just play that Mario bye-bye sound effect. So what was the actual development process like for this game?
That's a good question. I started with, I mean, I knew, like I said, I started from that idea, like, I want a game that time rewinds every 10 seconds. And so, the first thing I figured out is, okay, so you have this one start point that has to branch in a bunch of different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And I started sketching out, like, what that could look like, just in a notebook.
Yeah.
And, it's basically exactly that starting point that you're at is what it looked like. I have an early prototype screenshot of it that looks basically the same, just with way prototypier graphics. and um, and from there I just started like, I don't know, I did it very incrementally. It wasn't very iterative. It was very much like I kind of built the game in the order that it plays.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. So
I
like
wanted
adding in
this-
features as you went.
Yeah, I designed the shape of this room, and then I was like, ooh, okay, I want one of the upgrades to be boots. So I'm gonna put the boots like just out of reach in this first room, and make them really shiny and appealing, and hopefully that will put the idea in the player's head that like they can go around and get these upgrades, and they won't necessarily be walking this slow for the entire game. 'Cause I had that sort of idea that like, oh, you're this old wizard and all your powers are gone. Like, it would be kind of funny if I deceived players for a second into thinking that like this is your move speed for the game. Like, you walk at 1 mile per hour, and he's got like this goofy walk cycle too with the cane or with the staff.
Yeah.
And that was all done very early on, which was probably not a good decision. I spent like 4 hours on the character animations, like right
Oh my
off the bat,
goodness.
before
Yeah.
I had a working game. I got kind of sidetracked with that one, but it worked out alright.
Yeah, I mean, is you were able to finish the game, right? Like, did you have to like cut or change anything in order to finish on time, or do you think you're pretty happy with how things turned out?
I absolutely changed everything. So this, you'll notice that the boss fight almost just feels like a separate game from the rest.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't incorporate the rewind mechanic or pretty much any of the other abilities in any way. That was not the original vision. So I designed this room early on as like, this is gonna be the final room, and the big open space above in the middle where he eventually goes,
Yeah.
there was supposed to be like this big floating purple crystal. And the idea was like, you're gonna come down here and find him like doing some magic on this crystal, and that's what's fueling the whole rewind spell. And so you have to fight him, and you have 10 seconds to like break the spell, and then once you do, the rewinding stops and it turns into like a phased boss fight like this. But I had to cut that whole piece that like explains the whole lore of the game because I just had no time for that.
Right.
And I thought it was going to be really cool from a storytelling perspective, but that's a lot to do.
Yeah, I mean,
I might-
sorry?
I might still like consider adding that in the future if I do a post-jam version of this, because I still really like the idea. But yeah.
Yeah, so that being said, what was the most difficult problem that you encountered during the jam, and how did you solve it?
It was maybe the dumbest problem, but also the one that hit me the hardest because I was so tired at the time. Like, I did the boss fight near the end, and I must have spent 2 hours on this bug, and I tried everything, and it's actually the source of a lot of other bugs. So I have this issue with the boss where he's supposed to take like 10 hits on the second phase. That's how much HP he has. But sometimes he would take 3. And I'm like, okay, it must be a case of like my fireballs are doing multiple ticks of damage. Like, that has to be what it is. So I did all this like hacky stuff around giving him invincibility frames and like damage cooldowns and stuff, which are still in the game and cause a little problems behind the scenes. And I eventually figured out what the issue was. It was this little bit of code that I copy-pasted because I was like, it's fine, it's a game jam, I can copy-paste code. Whenever he would reset, like if you die, the boss resets, his health just got set to 3. That's just what it was. It wasn't going back to 10. So that's why he would die in 3 hits.
Because his health was just literally shown as 3.
It was just 3, even though I thought it was 10, because at the top of the code it sets the health to 10. And way in the middle, it sets it to 3.
Oh no.
Yeah, it really threw me off.
So you just had a different initializer value versus the like reset value?
Yep, there were just 2 different places where it was specified and they were different.
Oh my gosh.
So the lesson learned is don't copy paste your code. Just never do it. It's not worth it. You're not saving time.
No, I've definitely run into similar problems that are just like, are you kidding me? That's what was wrong? Like, going through all this elaborate debug stuff and then, like, I don't think I've fallen prey to that in a little while, so I'm probably overdue.
But that game jam mentality of, like, it's okay to have spaghetti code, like, no one's gonna read it, haha. It won't bite me. It will happen to you, eventually. It will.
Oh my goodness. I think I'm having more trouble fighting this boss the second time than the first, somehow. But yeah, so other than that, so do you have any plans for the game going forward, or do you think you're just kind of like happy with how it ended up?
I'm leaving it how it is for now. I kind of want to see just how it does, like what people think of it before I decide if I want to go further with it. I do want to at least like clean up this fight so that, you know, there's maybe give him a health bar in phase 2 and just make it clear that he's taking damage from these bricks and make it more obvious that you can get the bricks in the first place. For longer term, if I do decide to make it a more of a thing, I had a bunch of other spells planned that I cut, but yeah, the challenge with this game, like I would say that my post-mortem thoughts for this game was I designed it on paper and then I didn't think about the fact that the level design is involved because you have to have all these branching paths and you're essentially designing 10 seconds of the game at a time. And it's not reusable. Like, you can't reuse that 10 seconds anywhere else in the game like you can with a game that, you know, has a tighter like gameplay loop. So it definitely was a big time sink to make the levels and all the spells and interactable objects around the place.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of an issue where with the fireballs in the sort of like second phase, like if you miss one, you're just kind of doomed. Like it.
Yeah.
You don't have enough. Sorry, go ahead.
That I feel the same way, but that's also what baffles me about. There's a YouTube video of someone speedrunning this. In a pretty impressive time. It's like just shy of 2 minutes, and for the whole game.
Yeah.
And they miss so many times in the boss fight, and they still survive somehow. Just blows my mind.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, it really must come down to the radius of the shots, right? Because sometimes, like maybe rather than the radius of the shots being randomized, maybe you can constrain it so that it's a little more specific, so that you get more of a guaranteed like consistency in the experience.
I'm convinced that it just comes down to this person is a much better video game player than I am. It's worth a watch if you beat this in time.
Well, if I don't succeed on this attempt, I'll check it out.
Okay.
Oh, I say, and then immediately dash the wrong direction into a fireball. Okay, let's take a look at that to round out the interview here. But
Sure.
so this is the crazy run. This one here.
The top one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We can skip to like the 1 minute mark. Is where
Okay,
the boss fight starts.
So, yes, they get down here. They start fighting. Okay. Yeah. So if anybody else have any questions they would like to ask, please do so now. And then, yeah, just otherwise, do you have any other projects that you'd like to plug or any other social media channels that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, come watch me on Twitch. I have been streaming, rating other people's games, especially if you made a game for Miss Lumdare. Come by and watch me play your game. It'll be fun. But look how many times he misses.
Yeah, and then just like this huge cloud of these things chasing after. Like, if he hadn't gotten the killing shot right there, I think he would have been doomed because all those would have converged.
But that's what makes it so cool, is that it...
Oh, that's nuts. All right. Well,
I
thank
was
you so
on
much.
like the first day as well.
Oh my gosh. The wizard boss fight is so difficult. Sorry, I just started seeing some of the comments here. Just yeah, this person could just be like, nah, wasn't that hard. Get good. Oh my gosh. But no, it was fun. Like I think the boss fight is like an unexpected spike in difficulty. Like that felt like a final boss of a game, not
Yeah.
necessarily the first boss you encounter ever. I'm obviously
first and final, so
yeah, it's true. I'm definitely a fan of the like Nintendo style 3 hits, but just got to really space those out. Like the boss sort of occurs in phases. There's times when he's vulnerable. Hit him those 3 times, and you demonstrate that you have mastery of the fight, the mechanics. You win. So, yeah, I think that there's a couple like tweaks you could consider here and there, but overall, like the concept, the progression of power-ups, like that all feels really good. Nice things to have, like the coyote time, obviously. It doesn't really impact things much. It's mostly just that one jump over the lava that, like, to get the key early on.
yeah.
I'd say that's about the only time where... Oh, and then there's the time where you're going down to the left and you have to make a couple jumps to get the fireball spell, and you can bash your head on the ceiling and that causes you to miss the jump. I think I would generally recommend trying to make sure that in a platforming environment, trying to make sure that the player doesn't fail any jumps because they bash their head. Like, that's sometimes difficult to avoid, but it's just... It's one of those things that doesn't feel like it's your fault. It feels like it's the fault of the level design, because it's like, oh, I'm trying to make this jump. I should be able to jump at my full height.
That's an interesting point. There is I didn't think about it like that. There's one in the top right corner of the map when you're going up to get the key.
Oh yeah, that as well. When you're like climbing back and forth, you often end up bashing your head against the ceiling there too.
I bonked my head on that so many times during development, and every single time I was like, should I take this corner out? And I was like, oh, it makes the game harder, and the game's gonna be really short, so...
So yeah, like right here is the one that I was talking about. You're going to see on the stream delayed slightly. So that's the one that I was talking about. And then what you were talking about is much earlier. It's probably not necessarily that quick into the game. Let me see. Just scrub through here. Yeah, this one here as well. Yeah, so you really have to like feather that, like do a really small jump there. I would say that it's it's a way of making the game feel difficult that just like, here's the thing. If you want to make it so the player has to be careful how high they jump, just put a hazard on the ceiling, because then it feels intentional. Then it feels like, ooh, careful, watch your head. It's because then you sort of lean into the nuance of the variable jump height.
That's a good compromise. I counterpoint. I don't have any hazards that I could have installed without.
No, I didn't think so. So yeah, like in this case, I would have gone to lean on the side of just extending the ceiling height to make sure that you didn't have this unnecessary frustration. Because
yeah,
for the sake of a game jam, like, better that someone should have a great 3-minute experience than one that is artificially drawn out by like things that lengthen the game out of frustration rather than just genuine difficulty.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, it's the scope of a game jam. You don't have time to make multiple iterations and a like large variety of hazards to construct like super interesting levels that require, like, as you said, like, so much of this game is built out of unique assets, each iterating on just getting a power, and then that power allowing you to go one new place.
I will say the one thing I'm maybe most proud of is that stupid falling platform right at the beginning.
Oh, this thing? Yeah. Have you seen a lot of people fall to their deaths?
I mean, everybody falls on the first pass.
Yeah.
And it's just such a minor thing, but it really sets like a tone. And I love it because it's like you instantly realize, oh, there's cracks there. I should have known. But yeah.
But you've also only seen one screen of the game, so you don't know, like, you just think maybe that's just decoration. You don't realize that it's...
Yeah, you don't even know there's lava down below.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
My other favorite part about that, though, is that it's just the right distance that if you dash from the start, you fall, and it's not recoverable.
Oh my gosh.
So anybody who gets, like, too...
impatient.
Yeah.
Well, is it not recoverable at all, or can you start falling and then dash again if you were trying to get down there?
No, because you wouldn't recover the dash from... You only recover the dash when you're on the ground.
Ah, okay.
And that doesn't count as ground.
Yeah, I think one other small thing that would be nice, because I was really like hammering on the click for the making the projectile fire. If you had some indicator, like the wizard's staff lit up when you can cast fireball again. Now, obviously, that requires changing a lot of like hand-drawn animations, but
it's not that hard to erase just the little flame, though, and then
or just tint it a different color.
Yeah.
I think that would be a nice, subtle signifier that just makes it so you're not spamming the mouse click. You know exactly when your fireball's recovered.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. Well, I think that's about all I have to give in terms of feedback, but thanks so much again for submitting the game and coming on to chat about it.
Yeah, thanks. These are always fun.
Yeah. All right. Have yourself a good evening.
You too.
Bye for now.
See ya.